Welcome. Welcome to the press conference on innovation and technology in connection with the budget. Mr. Alfred Sit will be joining us online. We have with us Ms. Sandy Choi, Permanent Secretary IT, Mr. Victor Lam, Audio, Ms. Rebecca Poon, CIT, Mr. Ivan Lee, CEFFO. Mr. Sit will give us a briefing first. Mr. Sit, please. Friends of the media, welcome. I am working from home, so I'm joining the press conference online. I'll be giving you a quick rundown before I'll take questions. I'll be only delighted to take questions from the floor. The government has been committed to promoting I&T development. We have spent $130 billion on 8 different areas to improve the I&T ecosystem. In terms of startups and also investment, we have seen a sharp increase. We have a dozen or so unicorns in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is the largest fundraising center for biotech in Asia, and the budget has provided a lot of funding for this area. We have investment in startups, the promotion of R&D in order to strengthen the value chain and the ecosystem. In terms of startups support, under the Hong Kong portfolio, we're going to be setting up the Strategic Tech Fund to the tune of $5 billion to invest in technology enterprises and projects which are of strategic value to Hong Kong and build partnership. We're also improving the technology startup support scheme for universities. We raised the level to $16 billion, and we are providing additional one-to-one matching system. Each startup will get $1.5 billion for a period of 3 years. For R&D, the government will be reserving $1 or $10 billion to enhance our advantage in inner life health technology. We'll be providing hardware, R&D personnel, and also clinical trial. We are upgrading the capacity, R&D capacity of the universities. We'll be setting up the Inner Life Health Tech Hub at the Hong Kong Shenzhen I&T as a hub. Also, we are providing the funding to $440 million to 16 key state key laboratories. We will also have $600 billion worth of EGovernment Audit in order to enhance the efficiency of the government service. In order to promote the digital economy, the budget has allocated funding for the creation of a Digital Economy Development Committee in order to brainstorm for better ideas for Hong Kong. I&T is a growth area. It will enhance the productivity for every sector. We will be seizing the opportunity and roll out a whole series of measures and develop I&T with efficiency. I hope that you will join us and go down this path together. And I'll throw the floor for questions. Please raise your hand. You'll be handed a mic. Please identify the organization represented. Make it brief when you take the floor, please. Any questions? Over there, please. Now, from the policy address to the budget, there doesn't seem to be any coverage devoted to data center. Would you be more specific about the blueprint and also any subsidy or any specific plan you have for this particular area? Thank you. Thank you, Brian, for the question. Over the years, the government has been promoting the development of data centers. In various areas, the data centers have seen sharp increase in capacity. It has to do with the government policies. Earlier, we have allocated some specific sites for the creation of data centers. These policies enable the capacity of the data centers in Hong Kong to be ramped up substantially. Perhaps Mr. Victor Lam from Audio can fill us in on further details. Right, for data centers, we do have a number of measures to take forward the development, like land premium and support station for the data centers under Audio. We do receive inquiries about data centers every single month. We have about 100 or so inquiries. And all these inquiries go to show that a lot of companies are really anxious to set up data centers in Hong Kong. Hong Kong does enjoy a lot of advantages. Like we have pretty good connectivity with the rest of the world. We also have the cables linking up with the rest of the world. Some of the cables are under construction. All these go to show that here in Hong Kong, we do have a lot of opportunities for data centers to be developed. There are some companies of late, if you notice, that are interested in developing data centers. The Audio, together with the industry department and the power companies, we will be liaising with one another to make sure that data centers can happen with efficiency and go into service. And all these measures are going on. And all these measures have been serving us really well. Each year, the number of new data centers has been increasing really sharply. Let me add, Mr. Lam mentioned the unique advantages in Hong Kong and also the close connectivity with the rest of the world. And in fact, the Audio has been providing a lot of support to the sector to take forward the development of data centers. As I said earlier, the use of land is important. We do have the policy to identify specific land dedicated to data centers. Now, with this policy support, we can turn some of the industrial buildings into data centers. So that's why we have seen a really thriving development of data centers, and the capacity has been ramped up significantly over the years. And the capacity going forward is going to be ramped up even further to tie in with the development of digitalization.
RTHK. I'm from RTHK. First of all, for the Deputy Secretary of the Bureau has been found to be preliminarily positive. So I'd like to ask whether there are other staff in your Bureau which have been tested to be preliminarily positive to the COVID pandemic. Earlier, we're seeing more and more government employees working from home. In the last 2 years, regarding technology relating to working from home, what are the views of your Bureau? For the government, I think in respect of working from home, I think compared with private companies, there is actually a difference. So what are your views on that? Thank you from our colleagues from the RTHK. Thank you for your concern. Actually, the ITB has several colleagues who unfortunately have been found to be positive to the COVID disease. The Undersecretary have been in touch with me during the time when he has been infected. and I myself also immediately took a test, and I also would take a rapid antigen test every day, and the results have always been negative. But to be safe, I'm working from safe, and I'll also be more prudent in our efforts to fight the epidemic. For almost 2 years during the midst of the epidemic, the SAR government has been implementing measures to help those employees who, if they need to work from home, we want to ensure that there will be sufficient technology to support them working from home. I think this is the same like other industries and sectors in Hong Kong. Other than the SAR government, enhancing our own capacity, we also, through this, through various projects, we are supporting businesses, especially SMEs, to help them better leverage on technology, digital technology, so that during the epidemic they can continue with the operations, and also after the epidemic is over. We hope that through the baptism of this epidemic, we can enhance the technology level so that they will be able to operate in a more efficient manner in future. Economic Times. I'm Patrick from Economic Times. A question about the budget. First of all, the $10 billion investment on on life and health, technology. How is that going to be allocated? In which areas will the fund be invested in? And also the $5 billion strategic fund, you say it will attract, tech companies. So, what is your objective? In the past, so do you have more details regarding that? And also regarding EGovernment, the $600 million investment, what is the objective? The SA government has been doing this all along already. Are there any areas where you need to spend the extra $600 million to enhance your capacity? Now, thank you for your question regarding the Life Health, fund. I think in the policy address, we could see that under the 14th, 5-year plan, we can see how Hong Kong can leverage on our strength to contribute to our national economy. In the 14th 5-year plan, there are potential technologies. For example, life and health technology is what is needed by our country. We've also reviewed our own capacities. We have many, outstanding and world-renowned scholars in Hong Kong who are very strong in the field of life and health sciences. And also, we have 8, state key laboratories specializing in life and health, technologies. The Inno-Hong Kong Research Cluster, which we developed earlier, has more than a dozen, labs specializing in life and health technologies. So we are fully aware of our capacity, especially in the area of life and health sciences. Against that background, in the policy address last year, it was already stated that we will be, drastically developing in the field of life and health sciences and to create more employment opportunities. In the budget this time, we have reserved $10 billion to assist or to provide financial support for the development of life and health sciences. I think the scope of the project is very large. Other than big data, AI, or life and health, technology, research and development, they're all covered under the $10 billion funding. So, technology is developing in leaps and bounds. So in the process, we will work closely with our friends in the industry, especially those in the R&D sector. We will not limit ourselves and say that the $10 billion will only be focused on a particular sector or area, because the scope of life and health sciences is very broad. And like I said, development technology is taking place in leaps and bounds. If we constrain ourselves to a particular area or sector, then the development, we will maybe missing some opportunities. So therefore, we'll be working closely with the experts in the field to explore which are the areas which, is worth making the investment. Regarding the $5 billion fund, it is basically aimed at helping Hong Kong to identify those areas which can help Hong Kong's development and can achieve a synergy effect. And also, enterprises and organizations which have the potential. So through this strategic investment, through this INT fund, we hope that they will come to Hong Kong or to expand their businesses in Hong Kong. Similarly, development of R&D is such that what we are seeing now may be very different from what it will be like 2 or 3 years from now. In the Strategic Technology Fund, again, we will be working closely with our friends in the industry and the research team. So when we identify any enterprises which can benefit our development technology in Hong Kong, then through this Strategic Technology Fund, we will give them our support. Your last question is about the one-off government, the EGovernment audit. Our arrangement is that for all government departments, we will be conducting an audit. And the $600 million has already, earmarked funds for the enhancement of these departments. In the last few years, we already laid down the foundation for e-government. We have several hundred applications and licenses which the public can apply, through electronic means. In the middle of this year, for the Hong Kong SAR government, other than for legal or special operational reasons, all licenses and application services could be, made electronically, and people can pay the fees as well electronically. We can see that technology is not just about digitalization. For many of the new technologies like big data or AI, they can all, if utilized properly, can help enhance government services. And that is why we have reserved $600 million to help all government departments to conduct a comprehensive review to find out which are the technologies, the latest technologies that can help a government improve the services. And among the $600 million, we have reserved funds to help them, apply these technologies in order to best serve the public. If I may also add that regarding the Strategic Technology Fund, we want the Science and Technology Park Company and Cyberport to be able to identify both local and overseas tech enterprises with the development potential, and we have already achieved a certain scale, and that they would have some strategic value for Hong Kong and be able to actually enrich our innovation technology ecosystem. These are the enterprises we want to attract to come to Hong Kong. For the startups, we now already have the startup fund, and the Hong Kong Science and Technology Fund and the Cyberport also have their own macro fund and development fund to provide the support. We hope that corporations with some the proper scale and are of strategic value for Hong Kong, that we can help them grow. And also for enterprises outside of Hong Kong, if we think that they are able to help Hong Kong create a synergy effect, so that by collaboration or by coming to Hong Kong, we would be able to consider giving them the support.
Well, let me supplement a little bit here. About the e-government audit, back in 2020, we rolled out a platform for the cloud-based platform. We have the big data platform, and we also have the IM Smart platform. All of them were launched back in 2020. We are in the process of creating a joint use blockchain, and all these, together with the Hong Kong MA platform, we do have a whole series of infrastructural platform, and that will enable us to redouble our efforts to promote the use of these platforms and to use the cloud computing, the blockchain, big data, and AI, and so on. Through these platforms, it would be easy for people to build their own system in the most cost-effective manner, and they can take advantage of these platforms to provide the services. So this is the purpose of the e-government audit. We're not merely just doing the audit, we're also hoping that in 3 years' time, the government will be able to harness the latest technology in a broad way. 大公报. Now, with this Digital Economy Development Committee, can you be more specific about the terms of reference? What does it entail? Right, thanks very much, Tai Kung Bao, for the question. In terms of economic development and digital development, how can we do a better job in digitalization in the mainland and also elsewhere? We've seen the momentum of this development. As Mr. Lam said a moment ago, when he talked about the e-government audit, the Hong Kong government has been covering different areas like cloud computing. We have been promoting digitalization. We're making preparation and laying down the groundwork. And also, we have a lot of data in the government and in the private sector. They can use the open data for their daily use. With all these preparation, how can we, in a more systematic way, have regard to the views from the academic sector and so on, to make sure that the digital development will be done in a proper manner. So that's why we have the idea of setting up the Digital Economy Development Committee. Now, through this committee, we will be able to take stock of all these initiatives that are promoting digitalization, and what areas should we collect data and analyze data in a way that in different spheres of the economy we can focus on digitalization to make sure that the economic development will be more focused. This Digital Economy Development Committee is precisely the place where we get the ideas from. Phoenix TV. Mr. Secretary, I'm from Phoenix TV. In the budget, next year, we're going to have the trademark registration system. What kind of breakthrough are we going to achieve with this? And also, the university technology startup support scheme for universities. Why is it that you're going to be doubling the subsidy? Let me take the second question first. The first question is more related to the CEDB because this falls within the purview of that bureau. The second question is about the technology startup support scheme for universities. How much have we achieved over the years? Now, back in 2014, we started this scheme, and we are working with 6 universities, so with emphasis on technology. Last month, by the end of last month, we have successfully supported 334 startups in universities, and we have given them the support, and 1,500 or so patents have been created. We have about 300 or so different types of services, and 200 of them have already attracted financing. All these numbers are really encouraging, because we can see that the technological or R&D capabilities of the universities are very, very strong. How can they turn the R&D results into products? How can they commercialize the products? We do have to count on their capability, and we also have to have the government support at the very beginning. We should be able to give them some support. And that's precisely the whole idea of this technology startup support scheme for universities, and this is beginning to yield positive results. Other than government support, we also need to attract private enterprises to be part of it. Over the years, many private companies have been taking part. As I said, 200 or so have already successfully raised funding. However, in the course of raising finance, if the government can give them a leg up, then these startups from universities would be that much more able to shine. So if you notice, this is a matching fund. We offer them the subsidy if the university startups are able to develop in a way that they can attract private interest. Then the government will be offering the matching fund on a one-to-one basis. If they manage to attract private interest or private investment, let's say $1 million, then the government will be offering the remaining $1 million. That would enable these startups to be more confident. Each year for each startup in universities under this matching arrangement, it is the cap is $1.5 million for 3 years. So this is intended to give them a leg up, so that in the course of the development, they will be that much more able to attract private interest and to develop themselves further. Let me add, as we said, we have supported more than 300 companies. Not all of them can come this far. It all depends on their development and their potential. The universities have to screen them to identify those that they would attract a private interest, and also that offer good potential for further development. It would be for the university to make the recommendation. So the screening process will take place for matching to be offered. Any further questions? HK01, please. Yes, HK01. Now we're using the Levon Save app, and when you swipe into the shopping mall, and there are some problems with the supermarkets, you said that there would be an updating process. How far along is the progress? Do you have any specific examples regarding the matching process between the university startups and other companies? And are there any areas that the ITB would be devoting more resources? Can you cite some examples, please? Thank you. The first question, I deferred to Mr. Lam regarding the Levon Save app and also the updating. And this has been updated already. Perhaps I defer to Mr. Lam.
Also, regard regarding the subsidy for the university startups, Mr. Poon perhaps could answer the question. Thank you for the question. In 3.1.0 version of the Levon Save, we already have a new function. So you can actually go back to the previous venue. Some people have pointed out that once they've gone into a shopping center and then go next to the supermarket, and when they come out, they have to walk a long distance before they can actually scan the code. We now provide a new function. When you come out, you can actually press the return function button, and then you will find the code for the shopping center. So you don't need to walk a long distance to actually, scan the QR code of the shopping center already. I think this new function was launched last week already. You can download that. It's the 3.2.0 version. Mr. Poon could perhaps, give some examples. Actually, the Secretary and the Permanent Secretary have already told you that for the university startup, subsidy fund, our purpose is to encourage teachers, students, and professors and alumni of the universities to actually, commercialize the results of their R&D. So the support we give to the universities, therefore, is very important to them. These enterprises are actually recommended to us by the universities for our consideration. Since the inception of this scheme, we have seen many examples where we have achieved success. The Secretary already told you about many of these, company startups which already, register patents and are already generating revenue. For many of these startups, as they develop, they can move into the Science Technology Park or the Cyberport to continue to develop the business. So under this subsidy scheme for the university startup, we have given them a very good foundation and the support. Other examples include the Polytechnic University. They have a startup which has developed a soft lens which can actually mitigate the myopia of young children. And this lens now has already been launched to the market. It's very popular with the consumers, especially under the current epidemic. Students are not going out so frequently, and their myopia, many of them have seen the myopia deteriorated. So the startup of the Polytechnic has received our support for this project. The CityU startup has also developed, a test kit which can help screen the early symptoms for cancer. And we now have businesses which are already using that to help cancer patients to perform tests. We have many other examples of success. We think that we should, step up our effort to encourage the university R&D teams to try to commercialize the product so that it can help the general public. Do we have any other questions? If not, then that will be the end of our press briefing. Thank you very much.